All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we are in the training, how to start flipping houses with no money and less time. It's a cool title, but you know what? The funny part about it is that it's true. It sounds like a catchy title, but by the end of this, you'll see, how true that could be because it's something that we didn't think was real maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but now we definitely think it is because we are doing it on a daily basis. So we're going to go through on this webinar how we went from our 9 to 5s just over 4 years ago to now flipping about 25 houses a year. So let's jump right in. What to expect from this webinar. So what we're going to go over is we're going to go over a lot of things. There's a lot of information here. So if you have a pen and a pencil or paper, a pad and a pen, that would be to your best interest. So what makes up a flipping business? Some of you are on here that have never flipped a house before. Some of you are on here that maybe flipped a house or dabbled in it a little bit and are now interested in, how do you create a business out of this? So this is going to appeal to everybody. How to find the houses consistently. How to find and work with contractors. How to figure out repairs on a house with no construction background. Because God knows we didn't have construction backgrounds, but we estimate repairs on houses on a daily basis. Now, how did we learn how to do that? How do you know what to offer on the house? And how to buy and fund your rehabs with none of your own money. That always sounds like a catchy thing too, right? When you hear people say, no money down, or flip houses with zero money, zero of your own money. It's a fact. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica for all you Office fans. All right, so first of all, I really want to appreciate you for even taking the time out of your day to watch this in the first place. And as a thank you to you for taking the time to watch it and really investing in yourself to make positive changes in your life, in your family's life, and your future income and time that you're going to get back. Stay tuned until the end of this webinar, and I will have something special to give away. Now, let's get down to what we came here for in the first place. So here's the makeup of a flipping business. This is included, but not limited to, because there's many, many different parts to a flipping business, but I wanted to highlight some of the key ones to really give you a good insight as to what it takes on a day-to-day basis to flip a house. Now, what I said in the beginning, maybe some people are only doing their first house. Some have done one or two or dabbled in the business here and there. It doesn't matter if you're doing your first house or a million houses. Somewhere along the line, you're going to touch on all of these different topics. And whether it's you doing one house, you're probably going to do all of this by yourself. Or if you're building a business out of this and starting a team, that's when you start to delegate some of this stuff out. But somewhere along the line, somebody touches each of these spots to be able to make that house flip work. So we have marketing. That could be free or paid, put out into the world. And even marketing as simple as, well, marketing I would call anything that you put out into the world that you expect something in return. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your stereotypical TV ad or your radio ad, which is the first thing that I think that comes to everybody's minds when you think of marketing. It could simply be a conversation. If I told my neighbor about the landscaper that I use because he likes him, I'm almost marketing on his behalf. So marketing is a lot of different avenues to marketing. Managing leads. So what do you do with that marketing when it comes back into you? Appointment setting. Running appointments. We meet with a lot of sellers. In our business, specifically, we do a lot of direct mail marketing, and we do direct to seller purchasing of the houses, which means we don't really buy too much on the market. We will put offers on the market, but most of ours are sitting face to face with the seller and trying to solve a problem or get them out of a situation that they don't want to be in. Follow-up. Transaction coordination, a lot of paperwork, a lot of dots to the I's, a lot of crosses to the T's, and making sure that houses get to settlement on both sides and all the way through the process of your rehab. There's transaction coordination, whether it be payments, invoices, title work, notes and mortgages, you name it. Project management goes without saying. With a project, somebody has to manage it. It's either going to be a GC, or maybe you run it in-house, or maybe you're doing your own flip. You could be your own project manager, but there are steps to that to make sure you have a successful flip and make sure you keep most of your profit at the end of it. Contractors. kind of touched on this in the last slide. This is not only finding contractors, finding the right contractors for your business or your project, and how do you work with them to the best of both of your abilities, and to keep that relationship strong moving forward and make sure that you're both winning at the end of the day. Lenders, there's different levels to lenders. How do you fund your projects? We're going to go into that. And vendors kind of can fit into the contractor realm, but there's some instances where you might have vendors that you need stuff for your projects, but they're not necessarily at the project. So that's why I separated those. What makes a team? So we are building our team because we started 4 years ago and got to the point where we needed some help on the day-to-day stuff. So I kind of pointed out some of the things that we're doing in our day-to-day. So this is definitely not limited to this list, but they are pieces that can take some of that bigger list off your plate. Office administration, somebody to take care of the paperwork and the bills, scheduling, marketing, etc., things along those lines. Lead management, somebody may be taking your phone calls if you are doing outbound marketing. Acquisitions, this is the person in our business in specific, they're the ones going out and talking to the sellers and making sure that we get those houses under contract so that we can analyze it and see what we're going to do with it, whether it be a wholesale, a flip, or we're going to keep as a rental depending on cash flow. And transaction coordination, we pretty much touched on that in the last slide, is the person that's going to make sure that that contract on either side of the deal gets to closing. So let's kind of break these down now. How do we find houses consistently? Whether you're starting or you've been in the business for a while and you have a marketing budget in place, there's plenty of ways that you can go out and find houses and make sure that on a regular basis you have leads coming into you, because that's the most important part to keep your business alive. You can't get a house unless you find the house. But to find the house consistently, maybe you're working on a project or you have other things to do, you need these to come in on a regular basis. So how do we do that? Direct mail marketing is the way that we primarily do it. You could do Google ads, Facebook ads. Driving for dollars is a network term, not network, industry term, which is used by a lot of real estate investors. You may hear this from time to time as you study on building your business. And basically what that is just driving around different neighborhoods and looking for those houses that are run down and ones that you think may need some work. You know, by the quick eye, by driving by, you're going to jot down these addresses, take them home, maybe put them in your database, and make sure that they get a letter or a postcard from you, telling them what you do, and you know, if they had any interest in selling their house, that you know you're an interested party to buy it. Craigslist. We did a lot of Craigslist when we started out in this business, putting out free Craigslist ads of just we buy houses ads, something to the effect of, if you have a situation or a problem that you're getting yourself into or you're actually in right now and you need to get rid of a property for any reason, make sure they know you're the one to go to get that done. Networking. Sounds simple. Sometimes it's hard. You want to get yourself out into the public. And you know what? I'm going to tie this together with tell the world. Tell your family, tell your friends what you're doing. If you're choosing to, or your goal for the future is to turn this into a full-time business, make sure the world knows that. From day one, it's a little bit different because you haven't done this before, but own it, right? Just pretend like you've been in the business for 90 years and you've been flipping houses. You could do it in the dark, you know, and that confidence behind you will drive you towards, you know, putting that confidence on other people to reach out to you or refer you to people that need your help. Networking, there's things called RIA meetings, real estate investing meetings, and there's an app on your phone, and I think it's on a desktop as well, called meetup.com. And if you go on there and look towards your local or wherever you happen to be right now, you can find a whole bunch of meetings. Most of them are free. Go there and meet people. There's all types of people that go to these. There's lenders, there's contractors, there's flippers, there's wholesalers, there's landlords, there's the vendors that I talked about before, insurance people go, all types of people that affect this industry will show up at these RIA meetings, and you have open conversations, talk to people about their businesses. They'll help you with your businesses. It's just a great way, centralized location for local people to get together and talk about their goals and how they're building their businesses. Finding and working with contractors. This is an important piece, especially for your flipping company. You want to find good contractors, and that's one of the most popular questions we get is how do you find good contractors? And it's such a loaded question because what defines a good contractor? That could be perspective. It could be based on your relationship. Do you clash? Do you actually get along together? You'll hear me say from time and time again, actually, you'll hear me say all the time that this business is relationship based from the beginning to the end. So whether you're talking to somebody on the phone in the beginning with your marketing, or you're building a relationship with contractors, or you're maintaining a relationship with your sellers or your lenders or whoever, there's a relationship based in there, and that's the most important part. So this goes hand in hand with finding and working with contractors. There is a relationship side to it, and there's a work ethic side to it. So to put yourself in the best seat to be able to create that relationship in the first place, you want to make sure that the work ethic is there. Sure. So one easy thing to do in the beginning is to drive around your neighborhoods. If you're heeding the advice of driving for dollars and looking for the houses anyway, maybe you see a house that's under construction, and some of them are obvious that it's vacant, some of them aren't. But if you see a big dumpster out front and you see some contractors parked outside, nothing wrong with stopping, introducing yourself, letting them know what you do, and ask to go in and see the job. What's happening here when you ask to see the job? You're going to go in and see, number one, what their work looks like, and number two, which is also important that most people wouldn't think about, from the start, is look at the job site. The work might be fantastic, but if the job site is messy and there's stuff all over the place and you can't even walk anywhere and there's tripping hazards and stuff like that, that's something you got to take into account. Is that something that you want in your flip? So make sure that the work site is, somewhat decent, and that the work is good as well. And then from there, maybe you start to build that relationship and start talking about working with your business. Early morning Lowe's and Home Depot stalking. This is that was a fun term, obviously, but it's something you can do. A lot of times, contractors, when they need things for projects they're working on, are going to Home Depot and Lowe's or wherever that happens to be in your local, to get stuff for their jobs. They're going really early in the morning because they're going to be on the job site during the day, so they're going to be a little bit harder to find. So you're early in the morning, and maybe you strike up a conversation. It depends on who you are. If you're a really like go get them type of person, this is going to be right up your alley. And another thing that is important too is, you know, you have the people that are constantly looking for work and don't have any. But if you're meeting them at Home Depot and Lowe's, they're on a job already. So that's a good sign. Somebody liked their work enough or got a referral for them that they're doing work right now. And as you start working with contractors, ask them for referrals. They've worked with other people. They've been on job sites with different trades. And although they don't do the trades, maybe they've struck up some relationships and friends that they can refer to you moving forward when you need something. That's definitely happened to us. Ask other investors for referrals. This is a perfect opportunity for you to ask questions and icebreakers to other flippers in your RIA meetings when you go and talk to the flippers. Instead of saying, hey, how you doing? I'm new to this. Any information would be grateful. That's open-ended. How about you go into the meeting and say, I'm looking to get into the flipping business. I'm working on getting my first project. Who would you recommend for blank, blank, blank? And see how powerful that can be, because I've noticed everybody in this industry is more than willing to share with you. So if you came to me and asked me that question, I would refer you to that person and have them come and help you out. And at least you know that they're a trusted source and they've worked with flippers before, and you can get a head start on that relationship. Ask the township you're working in for referrals. This will work. So we're in Pennsylvania, so this will work in certain locations and not others. We have townships that are very active in their locals and some not so active. It's very broken up here, but there are certain spots where the township has actually a list of approved contractors that they use in their city, and you can't bring in your own for certain trades. So if you're in a location like that, you're going to have to go there anyway, but they know their contractors for the most part, and they know who goes out on jobs more than others. So maybe you can get a referral from the township. Just another avenue. Estimating repairs and making offers. So Paying a contractor for their time is something that I would have never thought about in the beginning, but such a great resource. You get somebody, and maybe you met them at the RIA meeting or wherever. Probably the RIA meeting is the best time to do it because it's such a laid back, um, you know, informal atmosphere where you're just networking with people. And if you find a contractor or somebody that's familiar with contracting, then give them a couple bucks for their time and say, would you mind coming to check this property out with me if you have one to walk through? Or if you feel comfortable with it and you don't have a property lined up, but you want to learn about stuff, invite them to your place. Walk around your house and ask, if I had to do this or I had to do that, what do you think the scope of work might look like? What do you think that budget might look like? That way you're better educated when you go into a house to look at stuff and be able to make offers on them. Spend time shopping and learn costs of items. We did this a lot in the beginning, and it really helped because you're going to pay contractors for a few things. You're going to pay labor because you have to pay them for their time worked. But you're also going to pay for stuff that you need inside the house, finishes, cabinets and countertops and doorknobs and hinges and windows and things that are part of a house. So start educating yourself on the prices of these items. How much does a window cost? How much does a hinge cost? How much does a door handle cost? How much do the pulls on your drawers cost? Little things. And we have sheets, a really detailed sheet in our class where it's almost everything you can think of that goes inside of a house and the costs that we would expect to pay based on our reference points and the work that we've put into building this list out. And it's something that you can do for an hour at a time. You go to your local hardware store and walk around and jot some prices down. It doesn't have to be done in a day, but at least you're learning something every time you go. And your offers. So I wanted to throw this in there. When you're estimating your repairs, you're creating your budget, which is then going to be factored into how much you can offer for the house to be able to make some money on it, or to be able to leave that equity in the house to be able to cash flow it, or whatever that strategy looks like. So the offer is really going to be based on the strategy that you exit with, whether you're going to be looking to landlord it and rent it out to a tenant, or you're going to wholesale it to another flipper and make sure that money is left in there for profit, or you're going to flip it and make sure that your profit is left in there. How to buy and fund your flip with no out-of-pocket money. This is one of the things from the title, right? So how to flip houses with no money and less time. So we do flip our houses with no money. We use private lending. And these are a couple of different avenues you can use to fund your projects. But with the private lending that we use, we fund 100% of the purchase price, 100% of the closing costs, which we count as one item, it's purchase and closing, and 100% of the rehab funds. Now we will pay, and certain lenders um, will expect different terms, and others will expect different terms. And as you create these relationships with your lenders, then you're going to have your own terms based on the conversation that you have with them. And whether it be interest monthly or deferred interest till the end of the project, or points, which usually come into the hard money lending spectrum. Points, for somebody that's not familiar with the lending, it's similar to if you were to get a mortgage on your house. And have you ever heard anybody say before, I bought a house and I had to put, I don't know, I had to put 10% down and I paid for 2 points. Well, this is similar in the way that you're going to pay points based on the total, and we go really deep into the money part in the class, and a whole class is actually set aside for it to go over the money and how that plays into your project, and how do you factor in your cost of money versus your budget versus your actual rehab versus what you can make an offer on the house for to be able to create that profit that you expect. That way you're always going in with a winning attitude and know that you have that backing behind you because you analyzed it right. Hard money lending private lending, let me back up a second. Private lending is going to be more of a personal relationship spectrum. It's going to be your family, it's going to be your friends, it's going to be people you meet at RIA meetings, ones that you've created relationships with. It's really a one-on-one trust-based relationship where you're going into this. with that person or that LLC, if you will, if they have money in an LLC. And although their money is tied to the property like a bank would be with a note and mortgage, their first lien position, it's still a very relationship based partnership, if you will. Hard money lending is a little bit different. Sometimes this can be a corporation or a pool of lenders, and you're typically going to pay points, and you're going to pay interest monthly most of the time, and you're going to pay inspection fees when people have to come out and look at your projects. Sometimes draws will need to be inspected. When you request a draw at certain parts of the project, they have to come out and inspect, and not 100% of the time will they approve 100% of your draw. So that's definitely something to weigh when you're considering whose money you're going to borrow from and what those terms and rates look like. So make sure you read all the fine print when you're getting into that. Some banks, not all, but some banks do have construction loans, and they do have fix and flip products within their bank. So also something to look out for. A lot of your local banks are starting to, well, around here anyway, a lot of our local banks are starting to create these products for fix and flips because they see the benefit in lending to uh, people like us, people that are flipping houses and bringing that value back up again. Now, working into your numbers means you're going to assume that you're going to pay something for that property for borrowing that money. And like I said in the class, we really dial that in. But in a nutshell, you're going to take your money that you're borrowing versus everything else you have in the project, and that's going to come out to a certain amount per year annualized. And when you back out your numbers and see what you're paying in interest, you make sure you build that into the whole equation, so that you're still leaving your profit to yourself without it being too without it actually tapping into your profit in the end. You want to make sure that that money is realized somewhere in that analyzation. And we set you up on the right foot with that. We make sure that you're analyzing the right way and making sure that all your costs are accounted for. And remember, this is a relationship business from beginning to end. I said that before, and it truly is, especially with your lenders. It doesn't matter on what level you're choosing to lend or borrow from, the private, hard money, or banks. It's always going to be relationship based, because whoever's on the other end of that phone or the other side of the table that you're talking to, if you do more than one deal, there's going to be a relationship built there. And as time goes on and you do better and you do better for them, that relationship gets better and better, and it's easier to get the money, it's easier to use the money, and it's easier for you guys to all win in the end. All right. So I wanted to tell you about the preseason REI Bootcamp and online course. This is, as you guys know, if you're on this webinar, you're familiar with the preseason REI Facebook page. If not, you got to go on there, look up preseason REI on Facebook, get yourself in that community. A lot of content, a lot of videos, a lot of information that we post on there. We're hosting a boot camp in Exton, Pennsylvania, April 3rd to 5th, and we also host an online course. I'll explain both of them. The boot camp is going to be a 3-day event. We're going to go over the whole course, which I'm going to explain in a second. It's the whole course that's available online right now, and we're also going to tap into a little bit of the scaling and team building, as well as a special guest right now. It's going to be to a business leadership motivation level. We don't have a name locked in yet. We're talking to a few people, and once we do lock something in, we will announce that to the group of people that have purchased tickets already. So that'll be something that we announce in the near future once we really finalize who we're using. So that's going to be the 3-day event. And what are you going to learn? Well, basically what we're going to do is, and we had help along the way to build our business. And now that we're at a point where we're successful and we're scaling even more this year, going from 25 deals in 2019, we're looking to do 60 this year and putting the pieces in place to do 60 deals. So what we'd like to do is open up our business to you and teach you our systems and processes and how we went from 1 deal, or really 0 deals, where we went from 0 deals and W-2s 4.5 years ago to talking about doing 60 deals this year, and have that be a reality, because we actually have the right systems and processes in place and the building blocks to be able to do that. So we're going to open that up to you. We're going to show you the complete insides of our business, how we work on a daily basis, and how you can implement that from being a complete beginner in this business to maybe somebody that's doing it and wants to scale their business up. Marketing, we have marketing, really detailed marketing for beginners and for companies looking to scale. What does the marketing look like? Not only that, but how do you track the marketing? How do you track to be able to predict what you can do in the future? When you put your goals on paper, big or small, when you put your goals on paper, how do you make sure you put the right pieces in place to make sure that that goal is attainable? We'll go over all that. Lead management. We have scripts. We can bring you through our lead management process. Lead management is the intake of the phone calls. In our business, we do a lot of direct mail marketing. We put phone numbers and our website on that direct mail marketing. Most of the people are calling us and filling out forms on our website, and we reach out to these people via phone. So what does that conversation sound like? How are we getting appointments? How are we setting ourselves up for success to make sure that we have the right conversations, that they're ready for us to come out to the house and make them an offer? Acquisitions. We'll take you through our whole acquisitions process, having the right conversations taken from the lead management personnel to the acquisitions personnel to continue that conversation and really dig down and see how we can help these people best. Our CRM systems. Our CRM is really a lead management system, somewhere where we can house all these leads that come in, and we will do a live demo of ours and show how ours works, and gives us the best opportunity for tracking the leads, making sure that we're staying on top of everybody that reached out to us, and following up on people that we've met with in the past that we haven't done business with yet. And we will take you through our complete system and show you how that works. A full comping lesson. Most people getting into this and are interested in flipping maybe don't have real estate licenses. You're not a realtor and you haven't had to comp properties before. And basically what that is taking like properties, ranch to ranch, traditional to traditional, and so on, and seeing what they have sold for in the in a small radius, and really dial down your resale prices. We go over a really full, detailed, itemized lesson on comping and what are the things that you're looking for to be able to give yourself the best resale price, and not only price wise but time wise, because time is money in this business, and every day you hold the property you're paying for it. So we want to make sure that you know how to price those properties accordingly to get yourself the best, not necessarily the highest, but the best price available in the shortest amount of time to protect your profit. Estimating repairs and analyzing for your exit strategy. We will go over all of the three main strategies in real estate investing, which is wholesaling, buy and holds for landlords, and flipping. What do those estimations look like side by side? And how do you analyze for all three to make sure that you're making out the best in all three situations? Pre-settlement checklist. This will be Mel. She does a lot of this as far as setting contractors up, setting budgets up, doing the scopes of work, and making sure that we're ready to rock and roll day one. If you've ever seen the show with Chip running through the walls, he loves demo day one, so do we, and we love demo day one to be on day one. So when you settle on a property, how do we make sure that we are set up to go with our schedules, with our budget, with our money, and make sure that we are actually demoing the day of or the day after we settle on a property, so that we make sure that there's no money lost in time. Lender and contractor draws, paying and invoicing. We will go over all of the money. We will go over how we're getting the money, how we're securing the money, how are we getting our draws from our lenders, how are we giving draws to our contractors, how are we making sure that the invoicing is paid up, and you're keeping up with utilities, and you're keeping up with all kinds of stuff that go along with the house, as well as making sure the project's on time. We will go over that in detail. How to get money in the first place. We tapped on that a little bit. We will give you some avenues where you can get money and make sure that you're putting yourself in the best position to succeed as you start to grow your business from day one. And then on day two, we are really going to tap into some of the hiring teams and scaling into a business that serves you. Once you get into this and you realize that you like it and you want to keep on going and it's making you some pretty good money and you want to create a business out of this, that is what we did, and that is what we want to show you how to do. Hiring teams and scaling mean that you can take stuff off of your plate, let them do the day-to-days, how do we train them? How do we motivate them correctly to make sure that you're creating success for your employees as well, because you want them to succeed. If they succeed, you succeed. And it frees up some of your time to do some of the higher level stuff that will able to enable you to grow your business and essentially make more money and secure enough capital for everybody moving forward. So that is everything that's included in the boot camp. It's everything that's included in the online course. The boot camp is, before I go to the next slide, I will say that the boot camp we are going to have a lot of fun with. It's not only everything that you learn in the online course, but we're also going to have some fun. We're going to have a networking session on day 2. We have a nighttime networking dinner with drinks, and make sure that everybody, it's, when you get a bunch of like-minded people in one room, it's fun. So we can talk about whatever you need to talk about. You network with people in the room, you network with us, and we can talk about business, and we can talk about starting out in the business. And it's a good break from the monotony of sitting in the classroom type style, which, there's a lot of business to get down to. There's a lot of information to pass your way, a lot of content. But in between that content, we should be breaking and having some fun. That is the purpose behind the dinner, and we're happy to provide that. Breakfast and lunch will be provided every day. We'll have a good amount of breaks set into the different modules that we have. And once you get your tickets, you will get an informational with, like I said, the guest speaker, and all the module breakdowns and some information on special rates in the hotel if you're traveling from anywhere, dates and times, and all that good stuff. So what's the total value for this? This was a tough one because we went to our fair share of free hotel events when we were starting to get into this, because we figured if we could just get some of this information for free, that we can get a jump start. And we didn't have much money in the bank as it was. So we went to 2 or 3 of these and really wasted a whole bunch of time. We paid for babysitters so we can go to these things. And all it ever ended up being was an upsell to something else that cost way more money than we could spend, because we hadn't done a house yet. We had decent paying W-2 jobs where we were living paycheck to paycheck, honestly. And that's why we went to the free hotel event in the first place, because we figured that was our way in, at least get a foot in the door. And we always left with nothing. So I think the lowest thing we were upsold was $5,000. So I put a value of $5,000 to that. I mean, we were in one that was $25,000 of upselling, and it was really ridiculous. We walked out and we were really upset. And the last one we walked out of, we just had our heads down and said, is this ever going to work? And that's when we finally found somebody that could educate us on a serious level and actually give us the content and the tools and the resources we needed to start our business. Some mentorships out there can cost $5, $10, $25. I think there was one I saw for $50,000. And that's just not something that we see feasible for new investors, somebody that's just coming into the business. You have families, you have obligations, you have rent, you have mortgages, you have your jobs that you're tending to now. Not everybody can just pull $25,000 out of their back pocket and be able to get into this business and expect to win from day one. We want to put you in a winning seat. So everything we've bottled together, if you paid for everything separately, you're going to pay some buku dollars, because you have to piece the business together, and you're going to pay different people, different things, different courses and different online courses and different information here and different information there. We took the time and put a full course together and give you everything from A to Z that you need to start this business productively. And we're making it really hard to say no to this. So everything we offer is easily worth about 10 to 20,000 if you put all of what we talked about today into one pocket. So I ask that you really take a second and think about, is this something that you want to do? Is this something that you want to jump into? Are you excited about flipping your first house? Because honestly, if you can flip a house on average, we're making about $30,000 per house. So if I was to pay $25,000 for a course and I knew I can get $30,000 back out of it, it would make it worth my while. Now, don't get me wrong, we aren't charging anywhere near $25,000, just using that as an analogy. So make sure that this is something that you want to do. And if it is, make sure you apply today and take charge of your future now. Like I said, the boot camp is April 3rd to 5th in Exton. The online course that we hold is a 6-week course, and our next class starts on February 19th. So I figured a perfect time, February 19th to April 3rd is just about 7 weeks, I believe. So the tickets right now for the boot camp, like I said, it's not $25,000. It's $1,600 a ticket. And the online course is regularly $500. So it's about $2,100 if you were to do both. What I want to do for you today, because you took the time to sit through this webinar, and that tells me that if you've made it this far, then you're probably invested into your future enough that this makes sense to you. And honestly, a $2,000 investment to be able to, I mean, realistically, you could be flipping your first house this year. So if you could invest $2,000 and get $30,000 before Christmas this year, would that be worth it? Or we're going to make sure that you flip a house before that. You put the work in, and you start implementing the stuff that you learned through us, and you can be doing your first deal as soon as a few months from now. So that to me seems worth it. It was worth it to me back then when we paid this kind of money, and I'm happy to present it. I'm happy to take the time away from my business and away from my family to be able to present you with this and teach you this. But I want to go one step further, and I'm going to say that if you buy your bootcamp ticket today, I'm going to go ahead and enroll you in the online course for free, and that is the lifetime membership. You get access to everything we went over, all of the modules we went over today, all of the details that come with the video walkthroughs in our course. We have a video walkthrough of an actual rehab that we were analyzing, showing you the different things in a house, and you basically get a 3D look into the day-to-day business that we do. So you get all 6 weeks for free, all of our files and our tracking materials, a look into our CRM, and we'll also include sample note and mortgages, our contracts, wholesaling contracts, the different pieces of paper you use to set up these properties. We're going to put that all in one spot. So there's no more searching around in Google and watching 100 different videos to try and piece everything together. We're going to have it in one nice spot for you. It's in the same portal. You get your own user ID and login. It's good for life. And that I would like to throw in free of charge today. So I say, get started now. Come to the boot camp, ready to take action and grow. What a perfect opportunity to get a head start. Take the online class. It's live with me. It's live with Mel. We're going to do it for 6 weeks straight, and we're going to run it right into the boot camp. Get a head start. Get the information in. Get your questions in. Come to the boot camp, ready to grow, ready to get into your first deal, and let's make 2020 great for you. So go to this link I will send out to anybody that watches the webinar, and it'll take you to the page where you can get more information on the boot camp. It's a video Mel and I put together. We'll give you some breakdowns of what that boot camp is going to look like. And when you get your ticket, you'll get some more information on top of that. So I would like to thank you again. The emails will be sent with the offer link to anybody that made it through the webinar. Here I have your information. So look out for that and make sure it doesn't go into your spam folder. And I want to urge you that if you are considering this seriously, don't sit on this and let somebody else take your seat. We are selling some tickets already. We only have 50 available for this boot camp, and we expect this to sell out. So get in as soon as you can before you sit on it too long and somebody else gets there in front of you and they start winning before you get a chance to. And this deal that I'm running with the free online class will expire on February 1st, or we sell at the boot camp, whichever comes first. So I invite you to click the link in the email that we send you, and go ahead and get your ticket today. And we're really excited about this. We're really pumped up about it. We will be in touch as soon as we get your information. And thanks again. Everybody have a great day.